You know what gives me anxiety?
What? What? Really?
And I was thinking about this, and I was thinking this is what shows that I have issues with anxiety and that it's completely unnecessary and unfounded, and it's only of my own...
I'll decide if it's unfounded.
It's only of my own creation.
What?
This shows you the level of the foolish anxiety I create.
It may not be foolish. It may be well-deserved.
When I'm driving my truck, my semi, my 18-wheeler.
18 wheels.
No.
How many tons is it?
Well, generally I can haul 83,000 pounds. Divide that by 2,000. How many tons is that?
That's a lot. Go ahead. So it's like
Well,
9 tons.
I'm going to do the math.
9 tons.
I'm going to do it right now.
It's 9 tons.
Let's see, 80. It's not 9.
You said 18?
80.
Oh, 80.
83,000 divided by 2,000 is 41 and a half tons.
That's a lot of tonnage. That's like 3 butt loads.
It's at least 3 butt loads. When I'm hauling 41 butt loads, 83,000 pounds, and I'm driving down the road, I don't like social interactions. You know this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And people that listen to this podcast might find that shocking. Like, I just don't enjoy social. It causes me stress to associate, acknowledge anyone outside of my sphere of friends.
Sphere of influence.
Family, friends, podcast.
So okay.
As I'm driving my truck, oftentimes, what do children like to do?
They dart out in front of your truck and you think about hitting them.
That may be a
We
possibility.
have all been there.
But as a child, I did this myself. The old toot.
The thing where they
tug the horn.
They tug
Toot,
the
toot.
horn. Yes.
Do your horn up. Bam, bam.
One should not do
Toot,
that
toot.
too often because you'll distract drivers, truckers.
Anytime I see young people walking down the road, this thought enters my mind. I'm like, oh my God. Like, I'm driving my truck, I'm thinking, please don't do the toot toot sign.
Why don't you just toot automatically?
Because, hey, if you do it in the wrong spot, it seems like you're honking at somebody like, get out of my way.
Oh, that's true.
But if I see some kids on the side of the road, they're enthusiastically signaling toot toot, I'm like, if I don't acknowledge them, then I could crush their dreams of how a man of the people truckers are. It's like, oh, toot toot, yeah, I'm with you, young man. Like, yeah, I see you, I acknowledge you.
So you're saying that you're not tooting your horn?
Sometimes I don't toot toot my horn because it causes me anxiety. Because if there's a trucker in front of me or traffic around me,
you are a monster.
And people around me, and say a kid is toot tooting, he's doing his honk honk horn, but I'm like, but there's a car in front of me and a car beside me. If I honk my horn, these cars are going to think I'm honking at them in an aggressive manner. So it's like, how do I do a light? Do I do a toot toot? Is that a light honk honk?
Yes, a light honk.
Or so there is so if I go honk,
Yeah,
That means you're danger.
Yeah. Like
Just quick.
Yeah.
Quick 2 blasts.
like you don't.
but that's not satisfactory. If I go, that's nothing. They want to hear the
Well, they
honk. They want to hear the loud honk.
Acknowledge them.
I try, if there's no one around me,
Look,
and they do the honk honk, I do the honk honk. And then when
I promise you, this is not happening on a daily basis at all. There aren't kids that even think about this.
You aren't a truck driver.
When's the last time it happens to you?
Out there.
When's the last time it's happened? It doesn't happen.
Every day.
It doesn't happen.
It happens every
You're
day.
lying.
You're not a truck
You're
driver.
lying. It doesn't happen.
Wherever you drive by in traffic, cars beside me, little kids will lean out and do the honk
They
honk.
don't do that.
They most
You're making this up.
do.
You're
They most certainly do.
I call foul.
I do it.
See?
You do it?
See? And thus the stress. And I'm like, if I do the honk honk, this car beside me is going to think I'm honking at them.
Here's what you do. You put some stickers on your truck that say, due to safety issues, I will not be arbitrarily engaging my air horn for childish purposes. And when those kids do their little honk honk thing, you just ignore them.
You were about to say something more
I
aggressive
was.
than that.
I filtered it.
But
because
I
this is a
remember.
family show.
Welcome to the Board Game Snobs podcast. Critically harsh reviews with a touch of class.
And go.
Welcome to the Board Game Snob.
Holy
wow,
cow.
was that loud?
No, keep going.
All right. It's your favorite snob, Enrique. And then I have the two other guys. Introduce yourselves. I don't feel like doing it today.
I'm the primary host, Gubby.
Oops, I dropped my phone. This is Jerry. We're
Going splintastically already.
We're recovering. I'm recovering. I had the bit of the flu.
You had a flu?
Yeah.
Surprised you got sick.
You didn't send me thoughts nor prayers.
You don't
I
even...
caught the flu from a patient,
Oh my god. Why are you always around sick people?
an English patient.
Aren't they always dying though?
In the English patient, they was that Ray Fiennes who spells
Yes.
his name? Doesn't spell his name like Ray Fiennes. He spells it like Ralph Fiennes.
Should be Rafe,
Ralphus.
but instead it's Ral. It's like Ralph. And then Fines. And it's just.
What has he found?
It should be Ralph Fiennes, according to the spelling.
I enjoy Mr. Fiennes.
I've never seen The English Patient, by the way.
Nor I've seen parts of it.
I've heard it's dreadfully boring.
I would like to watch it because I enjoy dreadfully boring shows every once in a while. Every once in a while, I enjoy a nice lull.
What? Like what? What's a good boring show you enjoyed?
The assassination of Jesse James. That was a good one. That's very boring, but it's also it's slow paced. That's your cat making noises in the background. People keep hearing this weird cat.
No, he can cut it out. Don't worry about it.
We can post the cat out and pre-edit. Wow, this is Evan Williams.
Bottled and bonded.
It's not
100 proof.
great, but it's good.
It's good.
It's good.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you very much.
Going great so far.
So, anyways, this podcast is about board games, solely about board games. We have turned the tide. We are no longer going to ramble and banter. We're going to stick solely to talking about board games and board game adjacent topics. This is our goal, correct? For 2022.
No.
Our resolution.
Then we will have nothing to talk about.
We have plenty to talk about.
No, we don't.
Yes, we do. We just played a Western.
We played
A great Western.
We're going to look back at Western Legends.
Well, we just played it.
Yeah. But I mean, we played it and podcasted about it before.
But
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like episode
It was a long time ago.
70 or something.
Oh, you mean the episodes I don't listen to?
You do.
Yeah. The episodes, you mean the show? The whole entire show that you
Oh,
don't
yeah,
listen
you're
to?
right. You're right.
Yeah. So, I mean, Jerry, you're throwing me off. Well, what are you talking about here? Are you going to just go straight into game talk?
No, I'm just saying is that we need to keep it tight.
I think he means just like cut down on the banter.
There's too much fluff.
All right. Well, then go.
I got this. So, Western Legends.
I ain't got nothing to say.
I was going to talk about my favorite Westerns. Like, if you had to
like
pick.
movies.
Well, yeah, it's board game related, isn't it?
Yeah, I can see.
So, technically.
could
So,
go.
what's your favorite Western?
I'm not gonna lie. I haven't watched a whole lot of westerns at all. Like,
If you were going to lie,
it's
what
like-
would you
it's
say?
like- I'm saying like good old western.
Well, just any Western.
Westerns are Westerns.
Name
I
a
mean,
Western.
The Magnificent Seven.
The new.
That-
wait, the one with Chris Pratt?
Yeah, sadly. Like that's what I'm saying. Like, it's like all the westerns I know are mainly modern and just
Okay.
kinda-
Name a few more that you know.
Wild Wild West.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, see? This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. I have not watched any good westerns, and that's sad.
I've forgotten about that.
I remember being a young man and watching Wild Wild West from Miss Salma Hayek, and that was a very, very risque movie at the time. It had my man, what's his face,
what was so risque about? I don't remember it.
Kevin Kline. It had a little bit of nudity in it.
A little bit.
A little bit.
From who? Kevin Kline showing his butt again? He likes to show his butt.
I'm pretty sure Salma Hayek
I enjoy Kevin. Okay, and he's kind of disappeared.
got an Oscar for A Fish Called Wanda. I love A Fish Called Wanda.
Let's swing it back. One of my all-time favorite westerns, starring Kevin Kline, Silverado.
I love Silverado.
Love.
You know who else
Silverado.
is in it?
Kevin Costner,
Sexiest Man Alive.
Danny Glover,
Danny Glover.
Jeff Goldblum.
Third second man. Sexiest Man
The
Alive.
guy that is like he played. Oh my goodness, he was in Kill Bill. The main bad guy in Kill Bill.
Carradine.
Carradine. Yes.
Some of us care. Some of us Carradine.
Or Deans.
Deans. I don't know. How to say his name.
I like him.
I really like him. Not only is Silverado amazing.
Man, what a cast.
I'll tell you what's got a cast that slaps. I'm not too old to say that. Ben Maddox is not just Tombstone. That's what popped to mind, but that's not the cast I was thinking of. Tombstone is a great cast.
You were thinking of Wyatt Earp starring Kevin Costner.
I always think of Wyatt Earp starring Kevin Costner. Oh, The Magnificent Seven, the original.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we were going on about that earlier, about that being one of the best westerns. And I think that is why I like The Mandalorian so much, is that it's a western.
Yeah, it's got
It's a space
western. It's got the
western.
western theme, western kind of music.
By the time this comes out, most people... Well, is The Mandalorian in Europe now? Is everybody in Europe? Or
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure it is. Because I'm about to get into making some memes about old Boba Fett. But my favorite western
Bulbous Fett.
Western guy, Boba Fettuccine. Look, don't fat shame him.
I did not.
You've been fat shaming.
He's bulbous.
He is.
That head is bulbous.
He is bulbous.
That's a bulbous
But
head.
I don't want to sound harsh, but you and your head and Boba's head,
We have
very
similar heads.
And I hate to say this, and I know, sometimes when people...
I don't think you hate to say it, or else you wouldn't.
No, I'm smiling as I say it. You were going on about Boba's teeth.
Uh-huh.
You got very similar teeth.
Oh, false.
Wow.
Your teeth are very white.
No, they are not.
Your teeth are white.
Smile real
No,
quick.
you know who's
Show me
no.
the whites.
No, you know who has white big teeth?
What?
Sade.
No, but I'm saying you have very, very white
Smile.
teeth.
Do
No,
it.
I did not.
Yes,
Gotta
you
prove
do.
it.
No, I
The
did
only
not.
reason is because
Stop looking at me and telling me to smile every day.
Smile.
your face kind of droops over your teeth, so you don't see them.
Hey, yeah, he does that thing. He does that thing.
He's like he shows his teeth wherever he
Oh,
goes.
yes, he's grimacing.
Which is all.
Okay,
That's
so
why I like Mandalorian. That's why I like Boba Fett, and it's only going to get better. And in it, and I love Cat.
oh, spoiler alert!
That's why I was saying about Europe. So it's going to come out next week. So if they haven't watched it, if you're not watching Boba Fett within hours of it coming up,
Now the British may not have access,
okay, look, I love the British.
although I doubt that any. Come on, I mean, who? It's like I just happen to know it because I've read enough about Star Wars, but I'm not a Clone Wars guy.
But you're not really a super fan.
How dare you?
Well, you're not.
Don't gatekeep me.
I'm not gatekeeping you. I'm just
Well,
saying.
We're just
I didn't
stating
watch the
facts.
Clone Wars. Doesn't mean I'm not a super fan.
Look, if you don't have,
It's basically.
You don't tell me what the requirements are to be a super fan.
if you're
Well,
not.
technically, a super fan is knowing every.
Oh, have you read the Darth Bane trilogy, Enrique?
I didn't say I wasn't a super
Okay,
fan.
okay.
fan, but
Well, look
Okay.
how mean he got.
I think-
Quickly.
I-
I'm going on the
I think
offensive.
there are specific requirements of what makes a super fan.
What does make a super fan? This is a good topic, and it's board game related. What makes a super fan?
Very gatekeeping.
Enrique, gatekeep for us. Your definition of a super fan.
I would feel like they would know all the knowledge for the canon, legends, and any,
That's stupid. Nobody knows all the knowledge.
or at least
You know how
to
much-
the extent of where,
I am the knowledge.
It's like,
or at least to the,
I have
or
all the
at least to
knowledge.
the extent of where others do not have said knowledge.
that's.
And then they were able to prove.
To be a super fan, you must possess
wait,
knowledge
no,
that nobody
Oh,
else has.
So
And
that's where
it's
you.
basically that's what that
That's
is.
where you messed up right there. You said something about needing to prove something. I don't have to prove anything. People don't have to prove anything. They can enjoy a thing
Well, but what you
But-
and say, "Oh, I love this."
But you cannot be considered a super fan. That's one thing you cannot enjoy unless you have the respect of other fans. And you, sir, lack that respect.
That is false.
So, no, I think this is an interesting topic because I myself,
I've enjoyed playing Western Legends.
I myself have gone
On this
on.
board game only podcast.
So here's the thing.
Okay.
When somebody says they like something, I often find out later there's often degrees, of course, but what somebody
Bachelors.
what somebody says and how you interpret it are two separate things. And so a lot of times when someone says, I really enjoy blah, 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 it makes me think, do you really enjoy this, or is this something you just kind of like? And so for most people who say, yeah, I like Star Wars, and then you go, okay, what have you, like, what do you mean? Do you have a lightsaber in your home? Do you sit and watch YouTube videos about the spoilers and the Easter eggs? Do you pick up on things? Do you read all the books? What to what level? And that can vary from point to point. For instance, something that I have found out about myself here recently, up until recently, if you would have asked me Star Wars or Star Trek, I would have thought I heavily lean towards Star Trek, because that's the most I'd ever consumed out of those two products was Star Trek, Next Generation, DS9, that type of thing. Not the newer stuff, even though I have watched it and I find it rather disappointing. I realized that even though I would have denied it, I lean more towards Star Wars than I do Star Trek. And that kind of shocked me when I started thinking about just what I enjoy and the knowledge behind it and the lore and everything about it. So when somebody is claiming to be a fan of something, at what point do you become a fan? By definition, you have to be fanatical, but let's derive our own definition.
Or that would be like going from somebody that enjoys something casually,
Like an amateur, which is what that is. You enjoy something casually.
to being quote unquote fanatical about it.
Well, if you were fanatically to enjoy said series, it would basically mean like hearing something new about it and then just keeping track with it 24/7, or at least.
Right. I think there's fanboys of things where your love of a IP affects your decisions or affects your viewpoint.
Objectivity.
Correct. So, for instance, this is also something that got me going. Like all the sequel trilogy, I very much fanboyed over those and Rogue One. Like every time they came out, I went and watched them and were enamored with them until I rewatched them and realized they're trash. Except for Rogue One. Rogue One's actually, there's some highlights in there that are really good. But the sequel trilogy is awful. And I realized that my love for the IP really made me want to like something to such a degree that when I went and seen it in the movie theaters, I was enamored with it. And then instantly afterwards, after thinking about it, my love of it went down. And I think that ties in a lot also with board games.
Well, I'm looking up the definition according to Oxford Languages for fanatic is a person filled with excessive and single-minded zeal.
Right.
So I would, in that case, not be a fan if I'm talking fanatical, because I'm not excessive or single-minded about these things.
Well, then you would just be a casual fan then.
So, and it doesn't mean that this is the only thing that you like, though. It's just that you're excessive in it.
Well, see, but then that makes me think of all these, like the Star Wars fans that just gripe about everything. Like nothing can satisfy them. Every movie they're upset about.
Like
and anybody who wants to hear this can go listen to The Disagreeable Nerd and Gobby's thoughts on Boba Fett. Continue.
Oh.
So, okay,
You gripe
touche.
and moan more than anybody I know. Go ahead.
Okay, touche.
Touche.
Well, single-minded zeal almost made me think of what we were discussing on the previous podcast, which is, I feel like maybe something you were about to go into just now.
Correct.
Was about, I watch Star Wars, and not that they only watch Star Wars, but like they just, everything is Star Wars to them. Cartoons, movies, videos, books, cosplaying, etc. I know there's people like that, and then there's probably quite a few. I would say the vast majority of people that enjoy Star Wars are probably in our level.
Correct.
Just kind of grew up watching the originals, grew up watching, I mean, I guess the prequels, although I've only seen them once a piece at this point in time. I didn't get into Clone Wars because I thought they were more for children, and I've watched a few episodes. I tried watching season 1. Didn't really care for it. But anyway, go into your point.
My point being is that the idea of a fan, as you brought out, and how people can be single-minded with their zeal, I think is very interesting because board gaming tends to have a lot of fans. People who enjoy the hobby in excess. For instance, what would be your definition of excess when it comes to board gaming? I would say that if you have games to a certain percentile that you have not played and you're continually buying games, you are probably in excess, which we fit that profile a lot of times. Not that we just have 1 or 2 games that we haven't played, but we have multiple games that we have sought out, purchased, and then sat on the shelf, and then continually seeking out other games when really we should be focusing on playing something or replaying something that we like. And that to me indicates that we are, of course, fanatical about board games. And despite on our previous episode where Gabi had expressed his thoughts regarding how he feels kind of burnt out and jealous about how others seem to have more time for board gaming, I find that I don't get jealous of other people's time and seeing what they're doing. I wish I had more time, but I enjoy other hobbies other than just board gaming. I mean, don't get me wrong. Board gaming is a passion of mine, but I think that if you were to list all the hobbies, and when I say hobbies, I mean these can be anything that you do to occupy your time, and then have to pick just one of them. Say you have to throw the rest away. You can never do anything else but this one hobby. What would you pick?
Are you asking?
I'm asking. And that's a difficult question because now you're having to choose.
And I was looking up, okay, we were going to nitpick, what is a hobby? Webster's dictionary defines hobby as an activity done regularly in one's leisure time for pleasure. It lists her hobbies are reading and gardening.
Enrique eats his fingernails.
And plays video games.
So
I mean, you could... Watching TV is a hobby.
Correct, it is.
And I mean, I would probably have to go with that one.
Which I find interesting. I get into the hobby of television watching because of you. So Gabi often will watch something and say, you need to watch this show. And I don't consume a lot of television, but I do it in spurts. And so Gabi will say, you need to watch this, you need to watch that. Oh, let me give you, get on HBO Max. And I don't have all these streaming services, so I have to do the, have to borrow.
You borrow from your good friend.
I had to borrow from my good friend.
Pirating.
To watch.
No, borrowing.
No, I'm not torrenting stuff. And so I'll watch stuff in spurts where, like I had pointed out to Gabi, I have watched more movies within the past 3 months than I have probably in the past 3 years. Simply because... not just of the time constraints, but because Gabi has brought up all these various shows and I enjoy them. But I would never choose television watching over board gaming, not in the least, because I find board gaming to be much more stimulating. The only problem I have is just having the people and the right requirements for it. I think television is much more passive and easy to do.
Well, yeah.
So,
I mean, if you're asking me... if I had the ability and opportunity to choose a hobby and have what I need necessary to partake in it, I mean, because you got reading as well.
Yeah.
I don't do it. I've been trying to increase my reading, but watching TV eats up all my time.
And that's where the trap falls. A lot of the people that you see on Twitter and Facebook that you're jealous of in terms of their board gaming, they have the opportunity to board game because they have the right requirements. They have enough people who have enough time. We unfortunately do not have that. Like, if I had no kids and weren't married and we lived closer, then probably every night I would be over at Gabi's playing board games. And board gaming would be a thing for us to where we would be even more obsessed about it because it would be our primary source of interaction and entertainment. And because of that, all your other hobbies would just kind of fall off a cliff.
Yeah.
But because we don't have those requirements, because we don't have those necessary things, a lot of times we entertain ourselves with other things that are not necessarily board gaming. that thus kind of crowd out and makes us wonder, is this hobby even worth it? And I would say, from my opinion on what I have seen just in board gaming as a whole, I absolutely think I would choose board gaming over television. The only thing I think I would rival for me out of the hobbies that I engage in, and strangely enough, and this is solely because of Enrique, it would be video games. I don't particularly like the mainstream video games, but for some reason, Enrique does. Enrique goes on about everything that comes out.
Enrique's perking up now.
Enrique buys every new game ever. So if it comes out and it's new, he buys it. I don't like video gaming, but I like the retro stuff. So I'm always digging and finding these weird games that nobody's heard of, that nobody cares about, that I play, that I thoroughly enjoy because they harken back to, the 8-bit, 16-bit days. And that to me it's interesting because it doesn't require anybody. I can do it myself.
Yeah. Well, see, that's what I mean. If I could choose, like you're saying, if I could choose and have what's necessary to do, I would have to think it would be board gaming. But because of the lack of, well, then, yes, all these other things take place. Watching TV instead of playing. And I have discovered, it's like you said in the last one with your Waxes and Lil Wanes. Even video games, like I really get into video games sometimes, and I will play them till late hours of the night. And then after a while, I haven't played video game now in probably a month or so. But if something comes on that I really like, something multiplayer online, first person, I'm playing that thing for many days upon weeks, but then I kind of get bored of it and I'll move on to something else.
Right.
And I'll pick up this book I haven't been reading and try reading that. Yeah. My thing is, the one hobby I have not kind of burn out on is board game. I said burn out last time. I don't even know if I said that. It's just the fact that I haven't been able to do it. So I felt like I've lost interest. But if I could be doing it regularly, I have enjoyed it. Whereas video games, I can get tired of playing video games.
Right.
And I can actually kind of connect with that. Wow, connect's not the right
We've
word.
connected, Enrique. You
Reach
and I.
out.
Reach out to me.
Reach
Enrique.
out. Reach out to that.
Reach
to
out and
that
touch
idea.
base.
Because actually last night, or technically today,
Okay, so you were up late.
He was up all night playing a game.
a 12-hour session
He's very
of a
tired.
new game.
What time did you go to bed? Or did you?
He didn't.
I'm still awake.
Oh my God.
This is the life of an incel. Go ahead.
But
That's...
I know. Don't even talk about it.
it's just, but it does get tiresome, even though one might.
I would imagine
What?
so.
Even though if one was to stay up late, it does get boring and just kind of almost repetitive.
When does it start getting boring? Like the 10th hour? 11th hour?
12th hour.
The 12th hour?
On the
Yeah.
third bag of Doritos.
But I always, every time I have Jerry text me or anything like that, it's very exciting because it then allows me to actually use my head instead of just kind of being in a robotic kind of
What does? Playing video games?
yeah, because
There's a
because I-
grind. There's a grind to video games that nulls you.
And I have been playing video games as long as I can remember, to be all honest. And it's just, I've gotten to the point of where I can play games and like surf through my phone now. Like I can multitask, like fighting like
He's on a
some like
different
major
level.
boss.
It's a different
He's
level.
playing a game on his phone while having a joystick in one hand and his phone in the other.
And that's only if I'm like in a super focused mode too. It's just, but it gets super repetitive and just kind of just really boring.
But to your point about board gaming, this offers you an opportunity to,
actually use my head into different types of thinking.
which is something that I'm going to have to labor on this and come to this point here, because this is something that occurred to me just last night. My two children, Jack and Kaya, love Minecraft.
Daddy.
And they have recently gotten into playing Minecraft with their friends, which I found out about and then freaked out because
They have friends?
they have friends, number one. But also, I was like on the beta testing for Minecraft back 2010, 2011, that era. So I love Minecraft. And so I'm like, hey, your dad plays Minecraft. I know all about Minecraft.
And then he gets on it.
And then I get on and didn't realize that it's been a decade. And so everything's changed. And so what ends up happening is that Minecraft to me is essentially Legos. And I have all my old Legos, which I've gifted to Jack, which drives me insane that he is not as enthused about Legos as I am. So one afternoon I have bags of Legos. And we sit there and we're just building stuff. And my kids are like struggling, going, how do we do this? How do we do that? And I'm like, well, do this, do that. What do you mean? Here, make this. This is how you do this. And I'm frustrated as I'm building things with Legos. And they're like having difficulty with it. And then instantly Jack goes, hey, let's play Minecraft later. I'm like, sure, we'll get on. You'll hook up. Kay will hook up. We'll all play together. And I get trounced by an 8-year-old who knows more about Minecraft than I'll never.
I know absolutely nothing. I didn't even know it was competitive.
It's not competitive.
It can be.
It's you come to my world and we go do these things, and my kids are like, oh, you can make this and this with these things, and you can craft this. And it was amazing to see that in the Lego realm, my kids were not able to be as creative as they were in this Minecraft realm. And in my mind, they're the same. But yet, here I am piecing together physical pieces with my Legos and going, look, this is how you attach this. This is how you do this. This is how you make whatever. And then basically we'd watch The Mandalorian and we were trying to recreate his N1 fighter. And then here we get into Minecraft and my kids are like, no, this is how you build a base. This is how you do this. And it's much more complicated even in a larger degree, but it's in a virtual space. And that's what shocked me. And I realized that hobbies, no matter what they are, not only is it a thing of, I don't know what the words I'm looking for. I think it's like there's times when I look at something and I go, this hobby is lesser than this one. Like I look down upon digital stuff. Like I think various hobbies I find to be very asinine. And I'm just like, why would you engage in this? This is dumb. This is not stimulating. This is not. And I felt that very much in terms of this physical creation that I can make with these Legos and these bricks, as opposed to what is digital in terms of Minecraft. But essentially, they're the same thing with just different rules and different interfaces. I think that it's hard at times to look at someone else's hobby and not be judgmental and realize that what brings you joy or relaxation or stimulation, whatever it might be, is going to be different for me and you. And that there is no hierarchy when it comes to hobbies. There is no, I read quantum physics books for entertainment and you watch Fast and the Furious.
Yeah.
You're both accomplishing the same thing, even though I feel like those people who watch Fast and the Furious,
whatever.
They probably do meth.
What's crazy is, I mean, hobbies also
and have lower back tattoos.
Stop! You're going to get them all defensive.
Hobbies can just be collecting stuff,
which is dumb. Super dumb.
No,
Dan Hughes was collecting stamps. That's so stupid. I have never in my life seen something so asinine as like, I'm going to collect these stamps.
What did you just say?
I know what I just said. I'm a hypocrite. I've been drinking and I say things that are very insightful, and then I come back because I don't like Dan Hughes.
I would say the biggest part of
he has created a board game.
You talked for like 30 minutes straight.
That is
board gaming.
What I wanted to do. I wanted to create a board game.
So in board gaming, half of it's collecting. Half of it's collecting, because you have. Most people that really get into it have hundreds and hundreds of games that they don't play.
They just collect it.
They just sit there and they're collecting them. So they are collecting board games. Yes, they may play quite a few of them, but for the most part, I mean, you can only play one game at a time. So the other hundreds and hundreds the other hundreds and hundreds of games are just sitting there. But people, oh my God, Rio!
That's your cat.
What?
Your cat is making.
He's like, feed me.
What is wrong?
Feed me.
My mic's off. Turn my mic back on.
You've been ranting for like 30 minutes.
Turn that mic back on. I've got. How dare you shut? You're silent.
No, you talk the whole time, and then when I start talking, you won't shut up.
What are you talking about?
They're saying stuff that you don't even mean.
Turn my mic back on. I mean it.
No.
I mean it.
No.
No, I mean what I say.
So then you have people that collect coins. I used to collect coins from foreign countries. I thought it was fascinating.
That's weird.
So people collect a lot. People collect figures, Funko Pops,
Funko Pop.
comic
I'm sorry.
books.
Wait.
He's collecting Funko Pop.
People, I've got a few. What are you laughing at? What are you laughing at?
You got Archie Funko Pop.
What are you laughing at?
Oh my God.
Okay, we're
So
sorry.
see, you're not the person to talk about with this because you demean others' hobbies.
I don't demean. Turn my mic on. I don't demean. I just
You
mean.
just did. You just demeaned Dan
I didn't
for
mean.
collecting stamps. You said it was asinine.
Okay.
That was rude and unnecessary.
I am very jealous of Dan. I recently played Core Quest. My children really liked it. It made me upset that I was very jealous because he came on our show and said, I have no interest in making a board game. And then he made the freaking quintessential family board game. And it upsets me greatly that some British guy in Huddersfield can just plop out this. I don't even know where to go with this. So
Well,
like
don't.
what Core Quest is a great game. for
Okay, well that's
so
a
many
whole
reasons.
other episode. Oh my God.
This is what
So
happened.
this is what irritates me.
I love Evan.
We start off, I say, what are we going to talk about? Fire it up. I say, what are we going to talk about? Fire it up. So then you're like, we're going to talk board games. Then we go into Western Legends. You simply mentioned the game Western Legends. And you're like, what's your favorite Western movie? Jerry? Oh my God. All right, that's going to do it for this episode before it's completely off the rails.
So sorry. I ruined this episode. I really wanted to talk
You know
about
what? I'm going to let you edit this one.
Western Legends. I really
Because
wanted
I
to.
don't see. This is
really wanted
This is
to.
why I can't come on here and be happy-go-lucky and
I'm
have a
sorry.
good time.
I'm sorry I
because Jerry
hurt
comes
you.
on here and ruins it.
I'm sorry I hurt you. Show me where I hurt you.
All right.
In the
Thanks for
editing
listening to
area.
this part.
I heard you in the audacity.
Bye.
That's a joke regarding editing.
They are almost professional level comedians. Hello, Dan Hughes here, primary guest on the Board Game Snobs. I'd just like to say to Jerry, well, in fact, I wouldn't like to say anything to Jerry, because basically, how dare you? How dare you and your petty little concerns and your petty little jealousies pass comment on me and my interests? The only thing you've ever collected in your life, Jerry, is empty bottles of bourbon all kind of strewn out on your front lawn, no doubt, with you laid in the middle of them, unconscious, crawling back into the house at 5 a.m, regretting every life decision you've ever made. Healthcare hero! Healthcare hero! Healthcare zero, more like it. You're just an admin person, as far as I'm aware, pushing pens and thinking of your old glory days. You're pathetic is what you are, Jerry. They're absolutely pathetic. This veneer of arrogance hides the shallow, petty man inside. I mean, we all know what these attacks are. They're to hide your inner insecurities. And we're not buying it anymore. There is nothing wrong with stamp collecting. Many famous and celebrated people are stamp collectors these days. It's a mark of honour. Most people think of it as a mark of honour. Robert Downey Jr., he's a stamp collector. Betty White, she was a massive stamp collector at a time. Dalai Lama, he's got absolutely albums full of stamps pouring out of his cupboards. Steven Spielberg, very rumoured that he's going to make a stamp collecting film, the next one he's going to make. Paul McCartney, he's written albums of music about stamp collecting. You have no idea what you're talking about. There are thousands of us, and we're all much better than you. That's the point. We're all much better than you. Even Gabby, with his pathetic, now I'll give you this, his pathetic Funko Pop collection, which anyone should be ashamed of. Even Gabby towers above you because of your contempt for your fellow man. So, in conclusion, Jerry, I forgot your name then. I even forgot your name then. That's how insignificant you are. In conclusion, I'd just like to tell you to shut your cake hole. Okay? Dan Hughes out.